Hi everyone, I'm Richard Foulkes. I'm an Auckland Director for BNI, looking after 11 groups around Auckland. And we're just introducing a concept to you as an education coordinator around education for the next 26 weeks. So what will happen is on Thursday or Friday you'll get an email from BNI support like the one you just received, and attached to it will be a video and a PowerPoint and sometimes some documents to use in your education. The idea behind this is that if you can use this material each week to raise the standard of your group around the fundamentals of BNI, then your group will do better. And the other idea is to save you time as a BNI education coordinator trying to find your own material and then turn it into something useful for your group. So what we want you to do is take this material, add your energy and your excitement to it, and personalise it for your group so it really gets across what BNI is all about and bringing that quality of your group up. The first week out, you'll see that on the email we've given you a schedule of education over the next 10 to 12 weeks that we are going to educate on. So you know if there's individual issues in your group that you want to address, that you know when they're coming up. And of course we'd love to hear from you if there's any specific educations you want to cover. So first week up is actually you get a hall pass on this one, and we want the president to do this. So we think the president coming in should have some idea about what your leadership team's trying to achieve for its group. And also that they're probably going to want to do this anyway, so there's no room in the agenda for it, so them taking the education slot or the 10-minute slot for a presentation of the style makes a lot of sense. So starting out, you'll see on the PowerPoint, if you fire that up, at the bottom of each slide there's notes, and that tells you a bit more detail about the sort of things you can talk about in covering this with your group. So week one, going to the second slide, is vision. So we believe that every business should have a vision, a mission and goals and plans to achieve what it's going to achieve, otherwise it won't achieve what it's going to achieve, it needs to achieve for its members. And we think this is a pretty general vision for all of BNI groups, that our leadership team has a vision for all of our members benefiting more from being part of this group. You can come up with your own, but that kind of describes what we're trying to do in our groups. Is the better the group gets, the more we get out of it for our money and time. Going to the second slide, mission. So you can have a debate about what's a vision and what's a mission, but what we'd like every group in New Zealand to have, and our group certainly have, is they've developed a short, pithy statement about their own group and what it's trying to do. And so, for instance, you can see at the bottom there that BNI Mega, if I just bend and have a look, we are a fun, supportive, inspiring and professional team working together to grow profitable and vibrant businesses. And that, if you're coming in as a visitor, or you're deciding if a visitor would make a good member, or if you're deciding if a member is a good member, if you look at that little mission statement, it really can help you work out whether even an event is a good thing to go and do. So if you sit down and work out and you can do this between the president, you can do it yourself, or the education coordinator, you can do it together. If you think about words about your group that describe your group, and then just put it into a sentence, and then that can be your mission statement, and later on we'll talk about putting it on your chapter sheet in a subsequent education slot. Next up, goals. So goals, we know that having goals allows you, it's a genuine knowledge that going to a place is much easier if you know where you're going and what you're trying to achieve getting there. For instance, if you're flying to Hawaii on a plane, the global positioning system in that plane recalculates its position and resets its target every few seconds. If it didn't, even though it's pretty simple really how to get to Hawaii, they'll end up in Alaska because of wind, etc. So if your group's got goals and you check them regularly, there's more chance you'll achieve more for your members. And as it says on the slide, these are common KPI numbers in BNI. You can come up with your own or delete some of them, so you can have your own goal around certain things, but these are pretty simple, easy ones to set. First up is attendance. If you're not in the group, if you're not there, you're pretty much sure you're not going to achieve much, and if the group's missing lots of people every week, the energy is going to be low, your 10 minutes aren't going to be heard by members. So minimum, turning up is the bare minimum. So if we're suggesting you set a goal for how many members you'd like present each week, and you can calculate it, what your current rate is simply from your 6 months palm sheet. It's the total number of absences divided by the total present, and you take that away from 1, and you'll come up with a number between 80 and 100. If it's currently above 90, well done, you're doing well. If it's below 80, you've probably got some members that aren't turning up very often you need to do something about. So set a goal which is a little bit higher. You can set a goal of 100% attendance, but it's not realistic because we know things happen the morning of or the night before. Things can happen that mean you can't make it and you can't arrange a sub. But a good group, a really good group, and we've got some of these in this category consistently, is 95 to 96% of members in the room a week. So referral rate, it's really important to think about referrals in terms of what you're giving, not in terms of what you're expecting to receive. Because if you're sitting there expecting to receive and the whole room is, and no one's giving, then nothing's going to happen, the group will die. So we need to educate in terms of giving. And you can calculate your current rate by taking the RGO, which was referrals given outside, and RGI, which is referrals given inside from your 6-month PALMS report, and dividing that by the number of members and dividing that by the number of meetings, and that will give you an amount of referrals given a week. A great group will be around 1+, and then most groups in New Zealand are running between 0.5 and 0.75. But we want to educate on bringing referrals, not about receiving referrals. So you can set a goal for that. Next up is one-to-ones. There's a lot of we're really getting some amazing results with one-to-ones in our groups in Auckland now. So we're seeing rates above 3, so that's more than that's 3 per month or nearly 1 a week. So you can check that. It's really simple. Just take the total number of one-to-ones on your 6-month PALM sheet and divide it by the number of members and the number of months, and that will come up with how many one-to-ones have been done per member per month. Now, a great goal is 1 per member per week, and most people will say that's reasonable on average. Remember, we're talking about averages here, and they're great for finding out more about other people's business and generating referrals. Later on in this education series, we'll do more about having effective one-to-ones, because there's probably a lot of coffee one-to-ones going on in groups. Next up is visitors. So if you don't have visitors in your group and you don't have them every week, your membership levels will plateau or will drop. And most groups need 2 to 3 visitors a week to really grow. So you can calculate that by the total number of visitors divided in the last 6 months, divided by the number of members in the group, divided by the number of meetings that you've had, and that will show you a very small number. It's probably a 0.1 or 0.2, but if your group was to bring 1 visitor per member per month, it would grow extremely fast over the next 6 months. But set a realistic one. It might be 1 visitor for the next 2 months, or 1 visitor every 2 months, and even that will generate growth for your group. And of course they bring business in the way of closed business. They can apply, but they also bring energy. There's always more energy in the room when there's visitors. Next up is TYFCB. Strange concept, TYFCB. It's something that you can't really control. If you give a referral, who knows what it's going to turn into, or even it's going to be followed up on. So, however, it does show visitors that a lot of stuff's going on in the group and money is being generated. So you can look at this. The simplest way to do this is set a goal for your group, for your leadership team, starting at 0 from April 1 for the next 6 months. And your group might be generating $3 million in closed business a year. In that case, it'll be $1.5 million for the next 6 months. Or and then you might say we want to take that to 2 in the next 6 months, $2 million. But set a goal, because it helps people remember they need to record it, and they need to record it regularly. And if you bring it up in part of your VP report, it brings people's attention to that. Last up, that's it for this week. So I hope that's helpful. You need to go away and obviously prepare some numbers and prepare some goals before you present this, and this is to help you do that. But if you do this and do it well, I think you'll find that your leadership team has some purpose and your group has some purpose. So that's all for this week. Thank you very much.